Natural selection is where species that are more adapted to an environment have advantages, flourish, and reproduce, yet species that are less adapted tend not to survive long enough to reproduce. In an ecosystem, the lizards with long legs will survive because they could climb better to avoid flood and reach for food. There are green bugs and red bugs living in the same habitat. If the birds prefer the green ones, the red ones will survive and reproduce more. Soon, the green bugs will slowly disappear from the habitat. In relation to Darwin's The Origin of Species, Darwin proposes that natural selection occurs through the following mechanisms. Within a population of one species, there is genetic diversity, which is called variation. Due to natural variation, some individuals will be fitter than others. Fitter individuals have an advantage and will reproduce more successfully. The offspring of fitter individuals may inherit the genes that give the advantage. There are three types of natural selection, which are physical barriers, land bridges, and continental drift. Physical barrier is a geographic feature that allows population of species to develop into that of two or more new species. An example of physical barrier can be anything, range from a mountain range to an ocean. Meanwhile, land bridge is a geographic feature that exists due to the lowering of seawater levels, rather than a continental drift. Such geographic feature allows species from nearby regions not only to move from one side to the other, but also to breed and create new species. Examples of land bridges are Central America, which connects North and South America, the English Channel, which connects England and Europe, the Bering Straits, which connects North America and Asia. Continental drift is the movement of the Earth's continents relative to each other, thus appearing to drift across ocean bodies. It is Abraham Ortelius of 1596 who speculated that continents might have drifted. Due to such movements, continental drift has resulted in new and diverse habitats. An example of continental drift is the southward movement of Antarctica. Once Antarctica was covered in forest and had a tropical climate like Vietnam. Yet, as Antarctica moved southward, its forests disappeared and snowflakes began to cover this region. In the end, having an understanding of all types of natural selection, we can realize that it takes a long time for a species to adapt to a certain environment and be able to reproduce effectively. Apart from that, we can also realize that not all species are guaranteed to be able to adapt to a certain environment, regardless of the time they have spent living in such environment. With that being said, we, as humans, should realize that there are specific habitats that are dedicated to a specific population of species, and that if we damage such a habitat by any means, our future will be condemned and jeopardized.
Created using Powtoon.